kind of a new approach for us. In the past, we would do a large number of small meetings to introduce the department. This is kind of inefficient, and I thought it would be easy for you all to see each other, to see the size of the class that are coming in. And so we're going to go through some basics about the department today, people to know, websites to know. We'll go through our curriculum in detail, both electrical and computer engineering. We'll talk about some rules that our curriculum has. We'll talk about advising. We'll talk about getting academic help, some additional opportunities, student organizations related to electrical and computer engineering, and final questions. So in some ways, this is the most important slide of the whole thing. People to know. And so we've just had a changeover in our undergraduate student services coordinator. Patty, if you can stand up. So Patty is our new undergraduate student services coordinator. Her office is in 102B Riggs Hall. If you haven't been there already, there's 3 offices kind of in a cluster in 102 Riggs. She's in the middle office. And her hours of availability for student questions are from 11 to noon, Monday through Friday, and also 1:30 to 4:30. And so you're welcome to see her anytime. I've got also her phone number there and her email. She will welcome any of those methods of communication. Okay? She's kind of our first line of where to go. When you have a question about some curricular issue, she can at least point you in the right direction. We tend to say in our department that the staff run the department. I think it's really true. So definitely take advantage of her. I'm Carl Baum. I'm one of the faculty in our department. And I'm also the undergraduate coordinator. And so there are certain issues that require my signature. Normally you would go through Patty and she would take care of that, but you're also welcome to contact me. The best way to contact me is by email. And so I encourage you to use that. By the way, when this whole thing is over, we will upload these slides, and if we get a good quality video, we'll also upload the video to our website. And so you'll have a record of everything that's going on here. And then the third name I've got on here is Dr. Daniel Nonaker. He is the department chair. He's right across the office from Patty in 105 Riggs. And for him, appointments are preferred, and you can arrange those through Janet Hendricks. But for most things, you should be able to get them accomplished either through Patty or through me. So we all welcome you to the department. So the next page I've got here is websites to know. The first page there is actually has our curriculum pages and a list of co-requisites, prerequisites. Those will probably be the pages you access the most as you go through the remainder of your undergraduate career here. And there's lots of additional information on that site as well. The second link is for forms. And so if you did poorly in a course, you want academic forgiveness. If you are changing a major or adding a minor, if you want to get approval for creative inquiry or a senior design project that's not the normal design sequence, or any kind of variance, or approval for honors research, or permission to take graduate courses, and finally approval for courses taken abroad. Any of those kinds of things, there is a form for that. And so you can find those there, and you're welcome to talk to Patty first, and she can help you fill out these forms. And so that's the other important resource in terms of our website. And so what I want to do next is just talk through our curriculum. And it's really 2 curriculums, right? By show of hands, how many of you guys are currently EE? And how many of you are computer E? And are any of you both? 1 or 2, yeah. So we'll talk through that. It is typical that we have more EEs than computer Es. There's also something that tends to happen, I don't know if I should share this, but sometimes people get a little further into the computer E program and realize, wow, this programming is a lot harder than I thought. Maybe I'll switch to EE. And so there tend to be a migration from computer more to EE than the other way. So if I were to ask seniors to raise their hands, you'd see a higher percentage of EEs than what we just saw. But this is your freshman year. You should all be basically done with this. Maybe you have one course if you're a transfer that didn't quite get through yet. But normally for admission into our department, you would be through the freshman year. And if you compare, so The left two columns are for EE, the right two columns are for computer E. If you compare the two fall columns, the first and third columns, you can see there's no difference, right? So it's a common freshman first experience. In the second semester, there is a difference, and it's important, which is computer E's don't have to take Chem 1020. Double E's do. Now, again, if you stay in whatever major you already signed up in, it's not an issue. But if you're a computer E and you later decide to switch into double E, understand that you'll have to go back and take Chem 1020. Okay? Now, you don't have to do it before you do anything else, but you have to get it done. There are some senior electives that depend on that chemistry as a prerequisite, but generally speaking, our required courses do not. So it's more a matter of just getting it done in a reasonable amount of time. Don't wait till the last semester of your senior year to do it, but you don't have to do it right that second. And so in place of that is an extra humanities social science requirement for computer E's. All right, and so sophomore year, this is where you guys should be now. So from the fall semester, again, if you're on track, and I realize a very small number of you will be totally on track. Things change and you come in with APs or you have to retake a class. There's many things that happen. Or you co-op, or many other things. So we don't expect that every student will be right on this plan. In fact, it's kind of rare that someone is. But it gives you a good sense of pacing and how far you are away from graduating. So that's why I want to go through it. So in the fall semester for both double E's and computer E's, you'll see again, it's an identical program, right? Computer science 1110 and its lab, ECE 2010 and its lab, ECE 2020 and its lab, Math 2060, and Physics 2210. In the spring, things start to get different. Okay, double E's have a choice to either take a humanities social science elective or to take ECE 2220. Now, if you take ECE 2220, it will actually count as one of your senior electives, and so in your senior year, you would then take that extra humanities social science. Okay, so you're not exchanging a yucky humanities social science for a fun engineering class. That's not what's happening here. It's just a matter of timing. Okay, I will mention that students, when they graduate who are double E's, a common theme is, well, I just kind of wish I'd taken more programming. So if you listen to those seniors, one way to do that is to take ECE 2220. You don't have to take it in your sophomore year. You could take it any time. But there's a couple of good reasons to do it. One is it really will strengthen your programming. It's all C, and it's a pretty intense class. The other advantage of it is it will give you more flexibility when it comes to the senior electives. If you want to take a senior elective that kind of more bridges toward the computer engineering side, you'll be able to do that. There'll be more choices available to you if you do take ECE 2220. So I'd encourage you to at least consider that choice. All right, so computer E's, of course, have to take that. And then they take 2620, 2720, that's circuits and computer organization, and again, that programming class, and then Math 2080, which is the last of the 4-semester calculus sequence. That's differential equations. So that gets you through the sophomore year. So let's talk about the junior year. Let's start with double E's. I'm just going to go through the whole year. So double E's take 320, which is electronics, 330, which is signals and systems, 360. By the way, I use 3-digit numbers. I'm calling these things 360 and not 3600. It's because just a year or two ago, we switched from 3-digit numbers to 4-digit numbers. And for some reason, it's just a whole lot easier to say 360 than 3600. So bear with me. I really mean the 4-digit numbers. I'm just going to keep saying the 3 digits. So 360 is power and 380 is electromagnetics. A lot of students will say this is your toughest semester as an electrical engineering student. 330, 360, 380 are just very challenging courses. Core material, you need it to go on into the senior year, and you just have to allow for that, be prepared for that. Double E's also in fall take an advanced math elective, and you have a choice of 5 courses. You can see that listed there on the bottom. Notice that I underlined one of them. That's Math 4340, which is Advanced Engineering Mathematics. The vast majority of our EE students choose that course. And there's a couple of reasons for it. One is some of these courses have prerequisites that are not in our electrical engineering chain, and some are just viewed as more difficult. I encourage 4340. I think it's a very good course. It's very complementary to some of the things that we teach in our department, and so I would encourage you to consider that as your first option as well. In the spring, for double E's, you take the second electronics class, that's 3210. You take a course on probability and random variables and random processes, that's 3170. 3710 is a continuation on computer architecture type material. 3810 takes you into electromagnetics, a second course on that. And then we have a requirement of a technical writing course, that's English 3140. In computer E's, you do take one electronics class, that's 3200. You don't take 3210, the second one. You have to take signals and systems, that's 3300. You take 2230, which is the next course in the programming, comes after 2220. You take 3710, 3720, that's the computer architecture type stuff. You take Math 3110, which is a linear algebra course. And then in the spring, you take 3170, which again is our probability random variables course. You take 3220, 3270, and 3520. Those three courses are kind of the core for computer engineering, okay? Dealing with hardware and software. So a lot of students will say in computer engineering that that is the killer semester. Because there's a lot of programming, there's just a lot of project-like work that you got to do all at once. Steep learning curve in some of these classes to know how to use the tools. And so be prepared for that, you computer engineers, that this will be a challenging semester if you stay on plan with these courses. And then there's one more math course, the Math 4190. All right, senior year. You know, it's hard to imagine being in your senior year right now. But here we go. Again, I'll start with the double E's. You take a speech requirement, either one of those two courses, COM 1500 or 2500. You take ECE 4090, which is control theory. Control theory builds on some of the junior year. That's why we have to put it off until the senior year. You take a communications course, that's ECE 4270. That builds on some of the junior year as well, and so that's why we wait until the senior year for that course. You take 4950 and its lab. This is the first of your two-semester sequence of senior design, okay? So 4950 and 4960 are your two senior design courses. It's totally project-based. They're basically separate. In other words, you don't continue whatever it was you were doing in 4950 into 4960. It's new projects, a new thing. Basically, 4950 is preparing you for the autonomy that you will need in 4960. All right, and then also in the fall semester for E's, there's a technical elective. And then in the spring semester, you have one more tech elective. You have either a third tech elective, or remember back when I said you could take ECE 2220, that could have counted as one of those. If you took that back earlier, then you would be taking your extra humanities here. And then one more humanities, and then 4960, again, the final senior design course, and this thing called a special elective. You can see there's a star by it. It's a lot of choices. It can be an additional humanities or social science. It can be one of these ELE courses, which I'm trying to remember the abbreviation, but it's some kind of leadership course. You can take an additional EE or computer E tech elective, or you can take a math course from that list of courses. All right? And so that completes the senior year for double E's. For computer E's, again, you take the speech course, you take 409, you take the technical writing, which, again, the double E's took that earlier. You take the first semester of the senior design course. By the way, electrical and computer engineers do the senior design courses together, okay? Especially in the 4960, you'll be in teams where there's a programmer, at least one, in each team, which is usually a computer E who's helping with some of that, and then you've got double E's. And so the team together is able to do something that's both hardware and software, both dealing with double E topics and computer E topics. So continuing on in the computer E, they also take 2 technical electives. They take 2 more in spring. They take a humanities social science requirement. They take the final 4960 senior design. And again, a special elective, which is very similar to the list we had before, except some of the math courses you already took, so you can't take them again. Yes?
Senior design, is that included using programming in MATLAB or programming in C?
Yes. The question was, does senior design involve programming in MATLAB or programming in C? And the answer is yes. It probably involves both. Okay? There's a good chance it involves both. So in terms of MATLAB, you've had it as freshmen. We're actually doing an experiment this semester. Actually, I am in my course, ECE 300. We've added MATLAB to that course. Because one of the comments that seniors were having was, we need more MATLAB practice. Because we were doing it as freshmen, and then we're expected to suddenly remember how to do everything as seniors. So we've put some in the junior year. Again, it's an experiment. We'll see how it goes. But I envision that this will continue for you guys as well. And it should shore up that need. So we will train you in MATLAB. All right. Really important thing is the note in purple. Now, if you look at other programs at Clemson, for example, chemical engineering, every single chemical engineering course that is offered by their department is only offered once a year. That makes it very difficult if you fail class or if you try to do a one-semester co-op or anything like that, right? It's very difficult to plan around that. In electrical computer engineering, because of the size, because of how many students we have, we are able to offer every required course every semester, fall and spring, okay? So the exception is those technical electives. Now there's always at least a couple technical electives available every semester. But if there's one particular one you're really hoping to have, that may not be offered every semester. It might be only once a year, or in some cases even less frequently than that. It just depends on the course and on our manpower for running these courses. Okay? But every required course is offered every semester. In addition, all the required EE classes, except for senior design, and most computer E classes, I think the exceptions are 2220, 2230, there might be one more exception, but most of the computer E required classes are offered in summer as an online course. Okay, let me just say a little bit about our online program. I forget how many courses we offer. It's in the teens total. Some of them are summer 1, some of them are summer 2. You can take them from anywhere. The way most professors do them is you have to arrange some kind of proctor for you taking the exams. And each professor runs his own course, so there's not a lot of standardization to how it's run, but it's always amenable to being off campus. So some students take these things and they're still here, but they're, again, it's an online course. There's no lectures to come to. Some students go home or try to do it while working. If you do try to do it while working, I just advise you, you're compressing an entire semester into 5 weeks. So it's kind of, just taking one class is kind of like taking 3. So if you were thinking you're going to work full time while taking 3 classes during the regular semester, that would be ludicrous, right? That would be a surefire way to fail all your classes. The same is true in summer. If you're trying to work full time with a summer class, that's a core ECE class. That's not a great plan. We won't prevent you from doing it, but unless you're, a Superman or something, it's not a great plan. If you're working part-time, it's fine. And some students also will look to outside of ECE courses to, some of the some of the humanities, social sciences, more and more of them are being offered online as well. Or you can just take them here, or you can take them at another university and transfer them in. Okay? So there's a lot of options in terms of summer. I just want to present that to you. All right. Any questions about the curriculum? We'll get into a few more details as we keep going here. If you can pass out those, we're going to pass out basically an 8-semester block by block, basically what I just presented to you. And there's one for electrical and one computer. So if you are electrical, just keep passing the stack that was the computer one. Don't take those. So read what it says. And the back of the page, when you do get it, I realize it's going to be a while. Some of you will be 15 minutes before you see it. But on the back of this thing is a list of the technical electives. Okay? This tells you what courses you can take. And it also provides a tentative projection of when these will be offered, if it's a fall course or a spring course. So we can't promise that, because there's always things that happen, like a professor goes in sabbatical or a professor leaves. And so we can't guarantee that those courses will be offered when we say they are. We try our best. Okay? Now, we've listed the courses by topic area. And so you can choose to take these courses, if you're really interested in robotics, you could take a bunch of robotics classes. That's fine. But if you have no idea what you want to do, it's also equally fine to take one course from 3 different topics. It's just to try to get a sense of what you like or what you don't like. Okay? I will say that when I was an undergrad, I tried kind of the lots of different topics approach, and I really didn't like any of them until the last course. So I encourage you to do that. It's okay. Okay? By the way, I'll mention this too. If you're in electrical and computer engineering and you don't like a lot of your classes yet, that's also perfectly normal. Okay? Even when you get into the junior year, we're teaching you fundamentals. And fundamentals are never as much fun as really building stuff and doing stuff, right? Does that make sense? It's like basketball. If all you had to do was shoot the free throw all day long, that's not a lot of fun. You want to get out there and play. It's in the senior technical electives that you get to play. So don't give up on Double E or Computer E just based on these early courses. All right. The senior technical electives do have prerequisites. So make sure as you're looking at that you are choosing courses that you actually can take. Okay? IROR will prevent you from taking courses you can't take. So it is good to plan ahead. All right, let's go ahead and talk about humanities and social sciences. You guys should have all heard this in freshman orientation, but here are the requirements. 3 hours of literature, 3 hours of non-literature humanities, 6 hours of social science, and 3 hours are that special elective. Remember the note I had on the senior page? Where you had a bunch of choices, some of which were humanities and some were other things. That's your 5th course. There's 2 more things you must satisfy. If I can have a little bit quieter, it would really help. There's 2 more things you must satisfy. Number 1, you must satisfy the STS requirement, Science and Technology and Society. The second thing you must satisfy is this ECA requirement, cross-cultural awareness. Okay? If you go to the website for the undergraduate announcements, they have lists of all these courses, which ones are which. If you're clever, you can satisfy these requirements without taking additional courses. In other words, one of your social sciences might also be STS. One of your, maybe your non-lit humanity is also CCA. Okay? Whether that works for you or does not work for you just kind of depends on your situation. I know students that come in with a bunch of APs are kind of stuck because none of the AP credits count towards those 2 requirements. And so even if you have a bunch of APs, you still have to take the STS and CCA. All right? Any questions about humanities, social sciences? All right. I want to talk about rules. Our department has a few rules. They're specific to our department. Each department has some things like this. The most common course students take to satisfy the probability requirement is ECE 4270. Okay? But there are other courses that satisfy it. In particular, ECE 440 is another option. That's a networking. But basically, you need some sort of course that uses probability, and that can be a communications course or a networking course. And so just make sure that one of your technical electives satisfies that requirement. All right. So we've talked about the prerequisite rule. The next rule is the 2 attempts rule. No student may exceed a maximum of 2 attempts, excluding a W. So that means you get all W's you want, but excluding a W, to successfully complete any ECE course. All right? So for courses that are prerequisites for other courses, that means you have 2 shots to get a C or higher. For a course that is not a prerequisite, like it's a senior course, it means you have 2 shots to get a D or higher. But if it's a prerequisite, you have 2 shots to get a C or higher. Okay? Note that academic forgiveness does not give you an additional attempt. That's not what academic forgiveness is for. Okay? Academic forgiveness will boost your GPA. The grade that you got will not count toward the GPA calculation. But in terms of the 2 attempts, you still, it counts, even if you use forgiveness on it. I've put on here, this rule is the most common reason students are prevented from finishing the ECE program. It's the most common reason they're forced to change majors. And again, if a course is required in both programs, you can't just hop from one program to the other. Okay? You would be out of both programs simultaneously, EE and Computer E. I'll give you one piece of advice on this. Let's suppose you've taken a course and you failed it once and you're thinking, I'm going to take it in summer. And I'm also going to have a full-time job. Really bad idea. Okay? That's a really bad idea. So if you are going to retake a course you failed in the summer, a couple of things to understand is it takes tremendously more self-discipline to take a course online than it does to take it here. Right? Does that make sense? I mean, there's no, you just are on your own. There'll be videos and there'll be homeworks, and you just got to do it. Most professors have some kind of office hour, some opportunity for feedback, that kind of thing. But you really are much more on your own when you do this. And so if you struggle just being alone and getting work done, it's not a good choice. They're a great choice if you're doing well in your classes, and you just want to get something done so you can do something else during another semester. They're perfect for that. But for a student who's failing, it's not a good choice. Now, I put on the bottom there, a variance request may lead to permission to have a third attempt in some cases. Okay? Generally speaking, there are exceptions to every rule, but generally speaking, if this is your first course that you failed twice, if you submit a variance request, unless your GPA is so low that we just think it's hopeless, we generally will approve a third attempt on one course. Sometimes we will approve a third attempt on a second course. It's extremely rare that we would do it for a third course. And we never do fourth attempts. Okay? So hopefully that helps you have a kind of a sense of what's required to get through the program. Another rule, there are 2 related rules. These are great GPR rules. An overall GPR of at least 2.0 is required for graduation. An overall GPR of at least 2.0 is required for enrollment in junior and senior level engineering courses. There's also a rule about your engineering GPR. An overall engineering GPR of at least 2.0, that's on your engineering classes, not just ECE classes, but engineering classes. Doesn't include sciences, but it's all engineering classes. So include your general engineering courses from your freshman year. An overall engineering GPR of 2.0 is required for graduation as well. And again, if you are below 2.0 here, there are consequences. In this case, it's restricted enrollment or no enrollment potentially in junior and senior level ECE classes. So let me explain what happens. Again, it's about a variance request. With a variance request, we will generally allow you to take a reduced number of ECE courses when your engineering GPR is below 2.0. And also, in the case of a general GPR below 2.0. But we do this for your good. Because what we find is students who fail a couple of courses think, oh, I really need to finish still in 4 years. And then they take 21 hours trying to fix their problem. Well, all that does is create a much, much bigger problem, right? And so that's why we restrict your hours if you're getting into this situation. Okay? I will say one more thing. If you are failing the first semester sophomore courses, you should seriously think about maybe another major. Because as you've heard me describe, it's not the sophomore year that is the tough part. Again, it's more the junior year. And so it's not going to get easier. Again, I don't want any of you to leave, but I want you to have a realistic understanding of what's required to succeed. To me, the worst situation in the world is when a student spends 5 or 6 years in our department and then is kicked out. And so now they have to find another major. They're basically starting at kind of as sophomores in that other major, so they're looking at perhaps 3 more years to get a degree. And just think about all that debt. That's what we don't want to have happen. So if you're really struggling at the beginning, take it as a sign that maybe you should find something else. And we can discuss, if you come to one of us, we can talk about other majors that allow you to do things similar to what electrical engineers do. It's not necessarily an end of your dream. Okay? All right, faculty advising. Each student will be assigned a faculty advisor. One way I like to think of this is you really will have two advisors. Okay? You'll have your faculty advisor and you'll have Patty. Okay? Really, the primary purpose of the faculty advisor is to guide you through the big questions. What sort of fields you want to focus on, what sort of courses you need for those things. The super nitty-gritty detailed checking, like whether you have all of your general ed requirements or things like that, that's something that Patty can help you with. Okay? And so I would view it that you have two advisors. The responsibility of what you take is yours. An advisor will never say, you must take A, B, C, and D. That's not how it works. We will give suggestions, and you are free to make really bad decisions and ignore our suggestions, but that's up to you, and that's on you. The responsibility rests with you as to what you do. We do allow students to switch advisors if that, the main reason that would happen is you decide you want to go into a particular specialty, and there's another faculty member in that specialty, you really would just prefer to be your advisor because there's specialized things you want to do. For example, for grad school. And we can do that. Just come see Patty if that's eventually something that you would want to do. All right. And we will be sending you emails as your advisors are assigned for this coming semester. I want to mention some additional advising planning tools. DegreeWorks and IROR shows you what you have completed, what's in progress, and what you still need to take. It's not perfect. It's got a few little bugs in it, but it really does give you a sense of the main core things. There's also, again, what we just handed to you, that 8th semester sheet is very helpful for this. And we are also developing Excel flowcharts. I just want to show you one of these real quick. And we'll have these on the website very soon. And so what this shows you is our curriculum with the prerequisites on it. Okay? The top row is what people would normally take the first semester. The second row is what they would take what we call the spring of the freshman year. Third row is fall of the sophomore year, and so on. And we have one of these for double E and one of these for computer E. And it's in Excel, but it's going to feel more like a program because it's very controlled through macros. But it allows you to enter your grades in the past and when you took them and to plan even out your entire 4 years. And then there are some buttons on the top that allow you to cycle through what the current semester is. And different semesters are different colors. And it allows you to just have a very nice clean picture of your plan. Okay? These are new, and so we're introducing them this semester. We'll introduce them to faculty as well. Your faculty advisor might use them or not use them, but you're welcome to use them personally in either case. I think they're a very helpful planning tool, especially because they show all the prerequisites right on the form. And again, I encourage you to use Patty McNulty. This is her job. She is here to serve you guys. Okay? If you are struggling academically, Peer and Wise tutoring is an option. It's free tutoring for all CES students. There's also a test bank in Freeman Hall. And there's also the Academic Success Center, which has tutoring for selective courses. It has study effectiveness classes. I just talked to some students today that were very positive on those study effectiveness classes. And they also provide counseling referral for special situations. I want to mention additional opportunities, fun things to do with our department. Let me get back in. I'm not actually running a semi. There we go. Creative inquiry. How many of you have already been involved in a creative inquiry? A good number, yeah. So ECE has their own creative inquiries. Encourage you to look at those. If you want more information, that second link gives you information, and in particular the third link makes it very easy to search for a project. If you go there and there's a little search box, If you click on electrical or computer, you'll see immediately which ones are looking for electrical and computer engineers. So it's a very easy way so you don't have to wade through hundreds of these different options. One creative inquiry can satisfy a technical elective, so you can use it to be one of those ECE senior electives, okay? Additional opportunities include co-ops. I've included the website there. Normally students would enter as sophomores or juniors, so now is the time to look into this. The normal co-op program is essentially 3 semesters. It's 2 semesters plus 1 summer, okay? And so yes, it will take you a year longer probably to graduate, maybe a semester longer if you do some more summer classes. Maybe if you came in with a lot of APs or you're just very intense over the summer, you can still graduate in 4 years. But again, I talk to students when they graduate as seniors, and again, the students who have been doing these co-ops, this is my just anecdotal information, from what I seem to see, they have an easier time getting that first job. They're a little faster at being able to secure a job. And often their employers from these co-ops are giving them offers as well. Okay? So I encourage you to look at that. Another option is an internship. An internship is just 1 semester at a time. It can be a summer, so that doesn't necessarily set you back at all. Interns generally are making 14 to 16 or even more an hour, so it sure beats working at a fast food restaurant over the summer, unless you're getting some training in something towards what you want to do. And so these are good options. Calhoun Honors Program. If you're already in honors, you should already be familiar with the program. I just want to emphasize there's two types of honors there. There is general honors and ECE departmental honors, and you can do one or the other. It's not that you have to do both or you have to do one to do the other. I'll also mention that it is possible to get into honors even if you're already at Clemson and are not in the honors program. If you go to the website, they have an application there, and you're welcome to apply if you try to get in. It's a good opportunity. You get to take honors courses. They're smaller courses. Even in our ECE department, we teach about, I forget how many, about 7 courses that are honors-only sections. They're much smaller. Students have really enjoyed those. And so, again, if you're doing well, that's something to look into. I think the minimum GPA is 3.5 to get in. Study abroad is another awesome opportunity. In some cases, you can actually take ECE courses somewhere else and they'll transfer in. There is this thing called a TCEL, the Transfer Credit Equivalency List, and it lists universities that we've already dealt with and have already approved courses at these other places to take. But even if the place you're interested in going is not on the TCEL, there's a very good chance that you'll be able to get credit for courses you take there. And there's a form that we have for starting that process, and I encourage you to look at that. Minors. See the undergraduate announcements for details. Each minor has its own rules, but it's at least 15 hours for the minor. At least 9 of the hours need to be at junior level or higher. I want to mention in particular the math minor. That is the most common choice of minor for ECE students. If you are a computer-y, you basically only need 1 more course. Our curriculum will give you 4 of those 5 courses. And so you just need 1 more, and you've got the minor. It's a pretty good deal. For double E's, you need 2 more, but still, that's a pretty good deal. So if you're interested in the math minor, that's the information. But we do have students who take all kinds of minors, okay? I don't want you to feel like you can only do math. But again, generally, it is 15 hours to complete it. I want to mention the FE exam, the Fundamentals of Engineering exam. I've included the link for it. Taking the FE exam is a necessary step to becoming a licensed professional engineer. Now, does everyone need to become a licensed professional engineer? The answer is no. It really depends on where you go, what you specialize in. Okay? If you're generally speaking dealing with products that involve human safety, you do need a PE. Okay? Because someone has to sign as responsible. So an example of a whole industry that requires it is the power industry. You just can't work in that industry without a PE, okay? But there's other industries, in controls and systems and quality control and things like that, where a lot of people are PEs. And becoming a PE actually gives you an advantage from a career perspective. So there's a couple of steps to getting the PE, but that first step is the FE exam. The FE exam tests undergraduate material. So the best time to possibly take that test is during your senior year. Okay? A really bad time is 4 years after your senior year. Because then you got to study the equivalent of 10 finals to try to pull it all back in your head to take that test. So I would basically say if you think there's any possibility in the field that you're considering that you'll eventually want to have a PE, go ahead and take the FE exam. Now you have to take the exam at an approved testing center. The nearest location is Greenville. And I do want to mention that the exam changed just a couple of years ago to where there is a electrical and computer only test. So the entire test is just testing electrical and computer engineering topics. The way it used to be was you had to take a general engineering morning exam and then a specialized afternoon exam. And that was tough for our students because you guys don't take things like thermo and fluids and all these things, and yet that was on the exam. It's much easier now because it's just testing the stuff that is in your courses. Okay? Our students generally do quite well on these tests. So I encourage you to look into that. Double major. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. I think one person raised their hand. If you're thinking about it, I just want you to understand the full picture. University requirements say you must complete 30 hours beyond the greater number of hours for either degree. Okay? So EE is 126 hours to graduate, Computer E is 127. So you need 157 hours. Now, in terms of our program, I played the game of working out exactly which courses double count and worked that really hard. And what I came up with is if you do everything you need for a double E plus take 5 more classes, you satisfy the requirements for both of our majors. That's 15 hours. And I got all the details there. I don't want to go through it. But you still will need 16 more hours because I started from double E, which is the lesser of the two. And so you need to add 16 more hours. But these can be anything, okay? These can be golf. These can be music. They can be fun stuff. They don't have to be, core engineering classes. And if you have some APs or some transfer courses that are not counting anywhere, those count toward that extra 16 hours. Okay? And so that hopefully gives you a picture for what it would take for the double major. Some opportunities for getting involved. IEEE Student Branch. I think an email just went out today on them. Great opportunity. It's super cheap to be a member while you're a student. So I encourage you to be a part of that. They have speakers. They have all types of activities. It's a great program. I don't know if this is pronounced CLUG, but Clemson Linux Users and GNU is a group for people who love Linux and other freeware. There is a Power Engineering Society student chapter. There's an amateur radio club. Eta Kappa Nu is the Electrical Engineering Honor Society. Tau Beta Pi is the General Engineering Honor Society. And if you go to their websites, you can find their GPA requirements to become a part of their groups. There's Theta Tau, a co-ed engineering fraternity. There is Women in Science and Engineering. And there's also an opportunity to become an ECE Undergraduate Ambassador. This is somebody who basically shows around our campus for people, represents the university, and you can find details on the link there. And so, again, we're double E's and computer E's, so I have to be a little bit nerdy, right? So that's ASCII code for the word questions, okay? The top line is in binary, the second line is in base 10, the third line is in hex, and of course the text. So I do ask you, do you have any questions? Yeah?
Is the ECE 2020 next semester or senior year, is that required? We already have another.
The question was ECE 2220, the course that we listed in the double E as an option for the sophomore year. Is that required in computer engineering? The answer is yes. It is a core course in computer engineering. They have to take it as sophomores. So electrical are welcome to take it. Any other questions? Yeah. When will we have what?